Hi friends! So today we are going to talk about idioms. The rest of this week we are going to talk about more figurative language, okay? And today we are going to talk about idioms. Can you say idiom? It's a very funny word. So idioms are words and phrases that don't necessarily mean what they say. And you've probably heard of some before without even knowing it. So an example of one is, "You are the apple of my eye." Has your mom or dad ever said that to you? That phrase, "you are the apple of my eye," it doesn't mean that someone has apples in their eyeballs or that their apples are eyeballs. That's not what it means. It means that someone loves you and they value you. So if your mom or your dad say, "You are the apple of my eye," it just means that they love you. It doesn't mean that they have apples in their eyes. So there's a lot of these. I'm going to read you some examples that I have over here, okay? So if someone says, "I'm going back to the drawing board," that doesn't mean that that person's going to go and start drawing a picture. It means that they're going to start over and think differently about something. There's another one you guys might have heard before. Maybe your mom or your dad said, "That costs an arm and a leg." It doesn't mean that you're going to pay for something with your arm and your leg. It means that it's really expensive. You've probably heard this before. "That was a piece of cake." It doesn't mean that something is actually a piece of cake. That means that something is really easy, okay? I have a poem for you, and I'll post it. But it's a poem about idioms, and it has some idioms in it that are pretty popular. So I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to think if you've heard these before. Idioms by Ron Brown. "Oh, they sound kind of crazy, but they're sure lots of fun when we talk to one another and use idioms. We know what they mean, but they don't mean what they say. Oh, those idioms. We hear them every day. There's a frog in my throat. I'm as busy as a bee. That's no skin off my nose. You might be barking up the wrong tree. My mom has a heart of gold. This job's a piece of cake. Something's fishy, I've been told. Don't take me on a wild goose chase. My dad has a big green thumb. He's always pulling my leg. You'd better hold your tongue. And my best friend is a really good egg. Sometimes I have ants in my pants. And the early bird catches the worm. Let's put on our thinking caps." It's really fun to learn. That one has a lot of idioms in it that you guys have probably heard before. So I want you to look at it and read it and see if you can figure out what they mean. For example, "There's a frog in my throat." Does that mean that there's actually a frog in my throat? Here, you can check. No, it doesn't. It means that I can't really talk, or I don't know what to say, or I'm nervous. "I'm as busy as a bee." Do I look like a bee to you? No. It just means that you're really busy. You got a lot of things to do. Okay, so look through this poem and see if you can figure out what all of these mean. I'm going to read you another poem, okay? It's called "Losing Pieces." Talked my head off, worked my tail off, cried my eyes out, walked my feet off, sang my heart out, so you see, there's really not much left of me. All those things that person said didn't actually happen. They're just idioms for how that person feels or thinks. So what you're going to do is you're going to get the graphic organizer, and you can choose which poem you want to talk about in the graphic organizer, okay? Make sure you do your mental image. Make sure you write down how it made you feel. Idioms are kind of confusing, so maybe it just made you feel confused, or maybe it made you feel like this person had no feet because they walked their feet off. I don't know. And then for figurative language, you write down the idioms that you saw or heard. And if there were any metaphors or similes, you would write those too. So metaphors, similes, and idioms. But there's probably just idioms in these today. So you're going to do the graphic organizer. In your figurative language packet, you're going to start on page 14, and it says, what are idioms? So I'll tell you what they are again. It says, an idiom is a well-known phrase that means something different than what the words seem to mean. Here are some examples. Don't rock the boat. That means don't make trouble. Lend me your ears. That means listen. That was a piece of cake. It was easy. Or I'm on the fence. I can't decide. So on this page, it says write the letter that matches the meaning for each idiom. So number 1 says, put your foot in your mouth. Which one do you think that's going to be? Let's see here. Letter A says it is your decision. B says tell a secret. C says get married. D says tricking you. E says it is over and done with. F says not feeling well. G says say something foolish. H says I can't do anything about it. I says nervous. And J says all in the same situation. So putting your foot in your mouth, okay, it means to say something foolish, letter G. Pulling your leg. I'm going to look at those again. Pulling your leg doesn't mean I'm actually going to pull on your leg, but it means I might trick you. Okay, so that would be tricking you. All in the same boat. That means that we're all in the same situation. So that would be letter J. Okay, so look through those and you try and get the rest of the matches on your own and use them in sentences. Then it says on page 15, draw that idiom. Have you guys ever heard that it's raining cats and dogs? Does that mean that I'll look outside and I'll see dogs and cats coming out of the sky? No, that means that it's raining really hard. So you will draw a picture of it raining really hard outside, okay? Page 16 says idiom body parts. So you have these key words at the top, and then you have sentences, okay, that are missing a word. So number 1 says, Kenny likes candy. He has a sweet tooth. You guys have heard that before, right? Like if you have a sweet tooth, that means that your tooth is made out of sugar, right? No, it means that you like candy and cake and donuts and all the delicious things. Okay, number 2, she doesn't mean it. She is just pulling your... Now remember, when we fill in the blanks, it's easy to go through every single one, right? So I'm going to start at the beginning and I'm going to go, she doesn't mean it. She's just pulling your face. She doesn't mean it. She's just pulling your tongue. She doesn't mean it. She is just pulling your eye. She doesn't mean it. She is just pulling your leg. That sounds right. You guys have heard that before, right? And if you really can't figure it out, just skip it and go to the next one and see at the very end what you have left over. And then the very last one is a bingo page. So it's just for fun, okay? You can do it if you want, but you don't have to. It's a bit different. You might not have heard of all of these, so you might want to try and do it with an adult. But it is fun. So those are your idiom pages and the graphic organizer. You can do the graphic organizer, like I said, for either poem. I don't care, okay? And I know that's a lot of work, so you don't have to do writing today, okay? But if you did want to, I want you to do a narrative on what would happen if it actually rained cats and dogs, okay? So the character would be you, maybe your friends, maybe your family. The setting would be Colorado, your house. And then the actions would be that it started literally raining cats and dogs everywhere, okay? So you can write a personal narrative about it raining cats and dogs in real life. All right. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we are doing, I think hyperboles. I can't see it, but I think tomorrow we're doing hyperboles. So those are fun too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.